Hey y'all, it's January the 28th, 2016, and I live in a fallen nation. Chances are you do too. Um, it's a nation on the brink of absolute suicide, and I try to describe it in certain different ways. Alright, basically, you could call it the tribulation. Uh, one way you could characterize it is that Christianity is being made illegal now. A lot of fake, absurd, preposterous Christians will tell you no, that that's not happening, but they have no eyes to see, nor do they have ears to hear. All right. I want you to check out this video. All right. Try and make sense of it, and then come back to me real quick.
Times have you taken a cell phone from your child as punishment? Well, one North Texas dad was actually locked up for doing that to his 12-year-old daughter, and today he faced trial in Dallas County. It's a case that went so far, this father tells us he may file a civil rights complaint. News 8's David Goins joins us with more on that story. David?
John, dad is free tonight. He was found not guilty in this trial. The judge said there simply wasn't enough evidence for a jury to be able to convict him, so they dismissed that case. At this point, it is a bizarre case of mom versus dad with a child, a cell phone, and the Grand Prairie Police Department in the middle of all of it.
That's not right.
Cell phones connect us all, but for Ronald Jackson, this phone had the opposite effect, tearing a family apart.
I have to separate myself from them.
He's talking about his now 15-year-old daughter and her mom after he was cleared of criminal charges today for doing, well,
Just like any dad would do, you catch your child sending bad messages on their phone, you take it from them.
a few hours later, Grand Prairie police showed up at his house asking for the phone.
At that point, I decided the police don't interfere with my ability to parent my daughter.
Mom, Michelle Seppi, sees it differently.
As a mom, I am upset because, number one, the property belongs to me.
She told jurors she called police after dad took the phone away.
It is a phone, but it's principle. I can't sit here and tell my daughter that it's okay for someone to take property from another person.
Even if it's her dad?
Even so.
Well, dad got a citation in the mail and requested a jury trial in Grand Prairie. After he refused to take a plea deal where the city attorney asked him to return the phone, the case moved to Dallas County. A warrant was eventually issued. Jackson says he had no idea it was issued, and he was arrested. Even spent a night in jail and paid $1,500 to be released.
I've never seen anything like it. You would think we were on the Jerry Springer show.
At trial this week, the now teenager testified about her dad taking her phone. After prosecutors wrapped their case Tuesday morning, the judge ordered the jury to find Jackson not guilty, saying there wasn't sufficient evidence to prove a theft charge. So Jackson won the case.
I have to separate myself from them. I can't ever have a relationship with them again.
But he knows he lost a lot more.
Over a cell phone. She's disowned her own father.
And this case is far from over. Jackson's attorneys say they plan to file a federal civil rights complaint for the way they say their client was treated, not only by the Grand Prairie Police Department, but the city attorney's office as well. And yes, dad still has that cell phone tonight. Live in Dallas, David Goins, Channel 8 News.
All right, David. Well, as you might imagine, this story really got your attention on our Facebook page with more than 500 comments, almost 1,000 shares. I want you to take a look at this, give you some idea of what we're hearing from people. This is from Barbara Webb. A parent can't even be a parent now. Waste of taxpayer dollars. And she would never have another cell phone as long as she lived in my house. Here's I think it's Chaz Lance who says, how did this even end up in court? He's the parent, she is not. What he says goes. Inappropriate text? Absolutely not. Phone privileges revoked. Good job, Dad. And then finally this one. This is abuse of the legal system. Cannot believe that they even let this go to court. The father should have been given a pat on the back, and if the mother was not backing him, she should have been fined.
All right. I am a father. I'm not a victim. All right. Never will you hear me claim that I am. But I am a father, and guess what? I don't get to see my child at all. All right. At one point, I was given uh, a bullshit ultimatum, and I turned it down. And a lot of people will look at me and say, "Well, how could you turn down that? That was your only opportunity to see your child." It was a bullshit ultimatum, but still, you should have taken it. You should have taken whatever you can get. These are the same people who don't understand that a nation without fathers is a nation that's putting the noose around its own neck right now. Right? A nation without fathers, believe it or not, is a nation that's been forsaken by Jesus. And men today had to have principles and we had to stand up. I can tell you firsthand, there's a lot of pain that goes with living without seeing your offspring, your son or your daughter. It's a lot of pain. It's a lot of loneliness. It's a lot of sitting by yourself and thinking and staring off into the distance. It's a lot of that. All right. But the simple fact of it is that this dude, Ronald, when he said he cannot ever have a relationship with his daughter, and especially not his ex-wife, but he can never ever have a relationship with his daughter. A lot of y'all might have looked at that and said, "Oh, that's kind of harsh, isn't it?" It's because you don't have eyes to see, you don't have ears to hear. All right. What took place here was a little girl was trained up and taught that she should very well take her cell phone over a father. This is an epidemic that's been going on. Please believe, please understand when I tell you that I have had a cell phone chosen over me. It's not a great feeling. And then when you think back to about 15 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, these little children in the schools did not even have cell phones. Now apparently cell phones are a right guaranteed to you by God somehow, and you're choosing them over fathers. Ronald, he made the right decision because the thing is, if he tried to get his daughter back now, it'd be useless. She'd be very well prepared to choose anything and everything over him. Not at all understanding that you cannot grow up right without a father. You need Jesus, and you need a father that believes in Jesus and can train you up the right way and who can look after you. You gave it up. Why? Because of a cell phone. Why? Because you were texting probably sexually inappropriate things at the age of 12 and your mother. Well, she thinks that's fantastic. All right. She's absolutely has diabetes or is getting diabetes at this moment, and she thinks that's fantastic. All right. She's offering you up to the wolves at this point. Christianity is being made illegal. Your country is being demolished right now. This is the tribulation. January the 28th, 2016.